Okay, so it occurred to me what this show is basically. This is the recordings of me trying to figure out what is going on in America post COVID, but before World War III. I it's the world's worst detective story because it's like there's very little evidence to go on what's actually happening. I think someday we will know that we lived in a bubble of fake history. It's hilarious, but what the detective story that I'm trying to piece together is how on earth does what is happening now make sense given the nature of whatever it is that we don't know? And it seems that what we don't know more and more is related to World War II. Like, it makes sense. And, like, honestly, the thing that occurs to me is that, like, the Tolkien books, I think, are not about, our world or whatever, but they're like a metaphor for world history or whatever. And, like, the whole crowning of the king and death of Sauron and what all that's the end of World War II. Okay. And Tolkien tried to write past that, but he never really could. He wrote the start of a book, and it was like a growing darkness. My thing is, why did Tolkien see the start of his next book series as like a group of secret society people that creep in the shadows at night? And like, go look some of that shit up. You can find a YouTube video on that, I know for sure, on Tolkien's thoughts on what would happen after the Return of the King. They're pretty interesting. And I'm not sure I'm not sure exactly what could be going on now because I'm not sure exactly what happened back then. And I find out more stuff every day. And every time I find something that I think is true, I add it to the possible board. Every time I find something that I know to be true, I add it to the for sure fact board. It's shit like Quetzalcoatl, an Aztec god, was described as a tall white man in armor. This is a known fact. My question is why? Why is that a fact? And how does that fact interrelate to all the other facts? And the reason I say that is because there's been more than one thing that's been aliens described as such. I've heard many, many things now about Nordic blonde aliens. And that's what Hitler was into and shit like that. There's a lot of that on the possible board, but the fact that Quetzalcoatl dude was one of these Nordic blonde aliens, I think, is probable, highly probable. And I think that these people have come here before. I think occasionally one of them gets tired of shit up there and comes down here for some reason. I'm not really sure why. One second. Seems to me that the Irish and English have alien DNA of some sort. Like, for some reason, someone in the past landed there and interbred with the people there, much as the same way has happened other places. And this is where we get the red hair and green eyes and blonde hair and blue eyes and shit like that. And like, I guess it was all across Northern Europe, maybe. I think that's why Hitler was so fascinated by this, is because it's an alien trait. That's not a human trait. And I think this is one of the big lies. I think alien might even be the wrong word. I think that might be like an Atlantean trait or something. Like maybe Ireland and like Northern Europe was some of the outposts of these people that didn't get entirely wiped out in the flood. And then through 10,000 years of interbreeding with hot native women, you get us. It's entirely possible. And the reason that I'm asking these questions is because of the things that I've heard that are on the fact board, like the Quetzalcoatl story, and like the fucking stories of Nordic blonde aliens that I believe. Some of those aren't on the fact board, but they're definitely on the possible fact board or whatever, the in between. And then there's all of the fishy stuff about World War II. And a lot of the fishy stuff about World War II for me is rapid advance in technology, obsession with the occult, the fact that our modern everything in the modern world that's controlled by the US government, the European Union, and the world banks is a Nazi wet dream. And I think the reality that a lot of people are going to be waking up to is that right now, America isn't America. It's a colony of Nazi Germany. Somewhere in all of this, the power roles reversed or whatever, and Germany is now getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And like, if you were Nazis and you just lost World War II, what would be your long-term plan? That's right. You conquer an empire from within, while meanwhile using your positions within this empire to ship power to Germany $1 at a time or whatever, right? Like, you get your guys in fucking positions to make sweetheart deals with Germany for everything. You know, and Germany had a power position in the rebuilding after World War II. And I think part of this was that whoever or whatever was running Hitler was a group of very, very rich people who were talking to space aliens, I think. And I'm pretty sure that that group of super, super rich people that were talking to space aliens merged with the Democrats. You get into the what fors and whys of that, but they were already pretty Nazi-y anyway. And I think Hitler was basically an actor. I've said that I think a time or two already, but I think if you want to know what Hitler was, go watch Iron Man 3. I think Iron Man 3 is a commentary about Hitler, to be honest. Ben Kingsley's role in that movie. He's playing Hitler, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I think a lot of modern cinema, there are a lot of people that do a lot of drugs, that write a lot of shit, and they speak in their own language, and if you learn to read it, you can read it. And it's very interesting to me that I love the movie Predator to the point that I could fucking almost write it word for word. And who directed Predator? Sorry, who wrote Predator? I mean, Shane Black. Who wrote Iron Man 3? Shane Black. I'm telling you, I think there's a little bit more to this world than people think. And I'm not like in love with Hitler or anything like that. I think he's an evil bastard, and I'm glad he's dead. What I want is, if he was an actor, if he was playing a role for a group of billionaires, would those be the same billionaires that rebuilt Europe after World War II? That's my question. Did they make even more money rebuilding all of Europe in their own Nazi image and then slowly fighting the fucking Soviets with us and our money. Because that's sure as fuck what it seems. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Am I the world's worst detective? We'll see. I want to keep exploring these thoughts because this is all my brain is really thinking about anymore is why in the fuck is the World Bank run by Nazis? Because it is. See you later.